Hi, dear. Welcome to your favorite audiobook channel, Wisdom Flicks. The Art of Negotiation by Tim Castle. Master the skills to influence, persuade, and win every negotiation. The Art of Negotiation gives you simple, powerful tactics to get what you want, calmly and confidently. Listen and transform your conversations today. Introduction. Why negotiation is the ultimate life skill. Negotiation is not just for boardrooms, sales floors, or international diplomacy. It's a part of everyday life. Every time we communicate with the intent to reach an agreement, we are negotiating. Whether you're discussing a job offer, deciding where to go for dinner, making a sale, resolving a conflict, or even convincing your child to do their homework, you are in the middle of a negotiation. But here's the problem. Most people aren't prepared for it. We often enter these conversations emotionally unarmed, strategically unaware, and far too reactive. We misunderstand the process, think it's about winning or dominating, and forget that negotiation, at its core, is about finding alignment, creating outcomes where both sides can walk away feeling respected and understood. This book is designed to change that. You're about to learn a set of tools, principles, and insights that can turn you into a confident, persuasive, and ethical negotiator. You'll gain clarity, strategy, and presence. You'll understand how to lead conversations with purpose, handle pressure with calm, and make decisions that serve both your goals and your integrity. Who this book is for? This book is for anyone who wants to take control of their conversations and outcomes. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, a parent, a professional, or simply someone who wants better relationships and more opportunities, this audiobook will guide you. That if you've ever felt nervous before asking for a raise, anxious during a disagreement, or unsure how to steer a conversation toward a fair result, then what you'll learn here will be a turning point. It's not about manipulation. It's about mastery. Mastery of communication, psychology, self-awareness, and value creation. Why you need to master negotiation. Negotiation is a multiplier. It enhances every other skill you possess. Think of it this way. You may be brilliant at what you do, but if you cannot articulate your value, set boundaries, or influence decisions, you're leaving impact, money, and growth on the table. Tim Castle, through his teachings and real-world experience, has shown that negotiation is not reserved for the elite few. It's a learnable, repeatable process, one that anyone can master with intention, reflection, and a willingness to grow. In today's fast-moving, high-stakes world, the ability to negotiate well is a competitive advantage. It's also a personal advantage. It helps you protect your peace, clarify your desires, and elevate your life on your terms. What you'll gain from this audiobook. Over the course of this audiobook, you'll explore 8 powerful chapters, each designed to sharpen a different aspect of your negotiation ability. That you'll start by developing the right mindset, learning how to think like a negotiator and overcome the mental roadblocks that often sabotage our confidence. Then you'll dive into preparation techniques, tactical strategies, persuasion methods, and handling real-life situations under pressure. You'll even discover how to use negotiation in everyday life, not just in formal settings. Most importantly, you'll learn how to negotiate with integrity. Because the best negotiators aren't those who take advantage. They're the ones who create trust, bring value, and build lasting influence. How to listen to this audiobook. This book is meant to be practical, not theoretical. As you listen, reflect on the ideas and try to apply them in your life. Take note of the examples and techniques that speak directly to your current situations. You don't need to memorize every strategy. Just start practicing 1 or 2, and you'll see results. Each chapter concludes with key takeaways to help you absorb the most critical lessons. Listen actively, rewind if needed, and take your time. This isn't a race. It's a transformation. Let's begin. The journey to mastering negotiation begins with one decision: to stop letting life happen to you and start shaping your outcomes through thoughtful communication. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room, the most experienced, or the smartest. You just need to be prepared, present, and clear. Negotiation is not about overpowering others. It's about empowering yourself. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Negotiator's Mindset. Every skill begins in the mind, and negotiation is no different. Before you ever speak a word, present your offer, or respond to a counterargument, your mindset has already determined the likely outcome. Your beliefs, your emotional state, your mental preparation. These are the invisible forces that shape whether you walk away from a negotiation feeling empowered or defeated. I end this chapter. We focus on the foundation of every successful negotiation. Your mindset. Why mindset matters. Many people assume that negotiation is all about tactics, what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. And while those tools are important, they are ineffective without the right mindset to back them up. A weak mindset results in fear, insecurity, and second-guessing. A strong mindset produces clarity, confidence, and control. Before we can master any external strategy, we must first master the internal voice that either pushes us forward or holds us back. So, what does the negotiator's mindset look like? Trait 1. Confidence without arrogance. Confidence is the cornerstone of effective negotiation. But it's not the kind that puffs up the chest or tries to dominate the room. It's quiet. It's calm. It comes from knowing your value and being prepared to walk away if necessary. This kind of confidence says, I respect myself enough not to beg. I respect you enough to find a win-win. Confidence allows you to stand your ground without becoming combative. It lets you speak clearly, listen actively, and propose solutions without fear of rejection. Arrogance, on the other hand, pushes people away. It creates tension. It invites resistance. The best negotiators lead with humble confidence. They don't need to prove themselves. They just need to show up, prepared and grounded. Trait 2. Emotional mastery. Negotiation can stir up emotions, frustration, anxiety, defensiveness, even fear. But the best negotiators don't let their feelings run the conversation. They stay centered. Emotional mastery doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you recognize them without reacting impulsively. You pause. You breathe. You observe. When you remain calm under pressure, you create an atmosphere of trust. People sense your stability, and it puts them at ease. Emotional regulation also helps you spot the emotions of others, giving you insight into what's really happening beneath the surface of their words. Remember, the person who stays calm holds the power. Trait 3. Curiosity over control. Many people approach negotiation as a battle of wills. They think they must control the conversation to win. But real power comes from curiosity. Curious negotiators ask questions. They listen with intention. They try to understand what the other person truly wants and needs. This creates opportunities for creative solutions that benefit both parties. Curiosity also builds trust. When someone feels seen and heard, they lower their guard. They become more open to hearing your perspective in return. When you replace assumptions with questions and judgment with curiosity, you shift from conflict to collaboration. Trait 4. Growth-oriented thinking. Not every negotiation will go your way, but every negotiation can teach you something. That's the mindset of a professional. Growth-oriented negotiators see challenges as opportunities to improve. They review their past conversations. They ask themselves what worked, what didn't, and how they can adjust. They treat failure not as an ending, but as feedback. This mindset removes the pressure to be perfect. It allows you to show up fully, take calculated risks, and grow over time. Negotiation isn't about getting it right every time. It's about getting better every time. Trait 5. Abundance over scarcity. A scarcity mindset believes there's not enough to go around. It says, if you win, I lose. This way of thinking breeds fear, desperation, and manipulation. But an abundance mindset knows there are many paths to success. It says, let's find a way for both of us to win. This shift in perspective changes everything. When you believe there's room for both parties to benefit, you become more open, more creative, and more willing to explore options. You don't cling to outcomes. You pursue value. Abundance leads to long-term relationships. Scarcity leads to short-term wins and long-term damage. The inner conversation, the most important negotiation you'll ever have, is with yourself. Before you walk into a negotiation, ask yourself, what do I believe about my worth? Am I prepared to be calm under pressure? Am I entering this conversation with curiosity or control? Do I believe we can both win? Your answers will shape everything that follows. You may not control the other person's behavior, but you always control your mindset. Train that voice inside you to be your ally. Replace fear with preparation. Replace doubt with strategy. Replace ego with presence. Practical mindset habits. Let's now look at a few habits you can start building today to strengthen your negotiation mindset. 1. Visualize success before a negotiation. Visualize it going well. Picture yourself speaking clearly, staying calm, and finding a solution. This prepares your brain to perform at its best. Point 2. Journal your wins. Write down small negotiation wins in your daily life. These could be as simple as asking for a discount or resolving a minor conflict. Over time, this builds proof that you are capable. Point 3. Practice mindful listening. Spend time each day practicing active listening. Whether in personal or professional conversations, learn to listen fully before responding. This builds empathy and emotional intelligence. Point 4. Set personal anchors when you feel nervous. Have a phrase or ritual to ground you. For example, repeat silently, I bring value. I am prepared. I am calm. 5. Reflect after every negotiation. After each interaction, ask yourself what went well and what could be improved. Keep a running list. This turns every experience into a lesson. Final thoughts. The mindset of a negotiator is not about domination. It's about balance. It's the combination of self-respect and respect for others. It's the ability to hold tension without folding, to stay open without being taken advantage of, to speak truthfully while listening deeply. Your mindset is your foundation. Every tactic, tool, or strategy that follows will only be as strong as the mindset that supports it. Build that foundation, and you'll be ready to negotiate not just better deals, but a better life. Let's move forward now to the next critical element in becoming a great negotiator: how to prepare like a professional. Chapter 2. Preparation is power in negotiation. What happens before the conversation often matters more than what happens during it. Preparation is not just a checklist. It is the groundwork that gives you strength, clarity, and control when the stakes are high. Too many people enter negotiations relying on instinct, charm, or hope. But the best negotiators don't wing it. They walk in knowing exactly what they want, what they can accept, and what the other party likely values. They've anticipated objections, planned their language, and even practiced silence. Preparation is power. It allows you to lead instead of react, to stay calm under pressure, and to adapt with confidence. In this chapter, we'll explore how to prepare like a professional, using techniques that set you apart long before a single word is spoken. Know what you want. Clearly, the first step in any negotiation is knowing your objective. That sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people walk into negotiations with only a vague sense of what they want. Your goal must be specific. Don't just say, I want a better deal. Ask yourself, what does a successful outcome look like? What is my ideal agreement? What's the minimum I'm willing to accept? Clarity gives you direction. When you're clear on your goal, it becomes easier to make decisions, set boundaries, and recognize when the conversation is drifting away from your priorities. Remember, if you don't know what you want, you'll likely accept whatever is offered. Understand you're being one of the most powerful tools in negotiation is knowing your BATNA, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Your BATNA is your backup plan. It's what you'll do if the current negotiation doesn't go your way. For example, if you're negotiating a job offer, your BATNA might be another opportunity, staying at your current job, or taking on freelance work. Knowing your BATNA gives you leverage. Why? Because it protects you from desperation. It reminds you that walking away isn't the end. It's just a redirection. Ask yourself, what's my best alternative if this deal falls through? How strong is that alternative? What can I do to improve it before I negotiate? When you know your BATNA, you negotiate from strength, not fear. Research the other party. A common mistake in negotiation is focusing only on your own needs. Great negotiators also understand the needs, pressures, and priorities of the person on the other side of the table. Before any negotiation, ask, who am I negotiating with? What matters most to them? What are their goals, fears, deadlines, or limitations? This is called perspective taking, the ability to mentally step into the other person's shoes. You don't need to be a mind reader. Use what you know, what you've observed, or what you can find through careful research. Sometimes, even small insights, like knowing their company's recent announcements or understanding their decision-making style, can give you a powerful edge. The better you understand them, the better you can frame your offer in a way that feels like a win for both sides. Set your anchors in negotiation. The anchor is the first significant number or proposal put on the table. Studies have shown that the first number offered in a negotiation tends to influence the final outcome, even if it's far from reasonable. So, part of your preparation should include deciding whether you will set the anchor or respond to one. If you choose to set the anchor, make sure it's ambitious but credible. It should reflect your high-end goal while leaving room to move. Anchoring high gives you space to make concessions while still arriving at a favorable result. If you expect them to set the anchor, prepare your counter strategy. You might need to reframe the offer, challenge it politely, or bring the focus back to value rather than price. Anchoring is psychological. Be ready to use it, or you'll be pulled by it. Anticipate objections. Every negotiation includes moments of resistance, questions, pushback, or flat-out rejection. This is not a sign of failure. It's part of the process. The best negotiators don't panic when objections arise. Why? Because they've already prepared for them. Before entering the conversation, ask yourself, what are the most likely objections they'll raise? How can I respond calmly and convincingly? What evidence or reasoning will support my position? You can even rehearse these moments. Practice how you'll respond, using clear, composed language. That way, when the objection comes, you'll be ready, not defensive or thrown off. Anticipation creates confidence. It keeps the dialogue moving, even when tension rises. Frame the conversation strategically. Framing is how you position the negotiation in your favor before the substance is even discussed. For example, if you frame a raise request as a recognition of my growing contributions and industry value, you're setting the tone differently than if you simply say, I'd like more money. Framing helps you shape perception. It allows you to introduce the conversation with clarity and purpose. Prepare your opening lines carefully. Decide how you want to start the conversation. Choose words that invite collaboration, not conflict. Remember, people respond not just to what you say, but how you frame it. Prepare logically. Perform emotionally. Preparation isn't only about logic and data. It's also about emotional readiness. Ask yourself, am I mentally prepared to lead this conversation? Can I stay composed if things don't go my way? What fears or assumptions might trip me up? The mental rehearsal you do beforehand is just as important as the facts you bring. Confidence comes from knowing you've already walked the path in your mind. Don't just rehearse what to say. Rehearse how you'll feel. See yourself listening without interrupting. Picture yourself pausing instead of reacting. Visualize success. Even when there's discomfort, that emotional preparation will be your safety net when real pressure shows up. Practice before the real thing. You wouldn't perform on stage without rehearsal. Why approach negotiation differently? Practicing out loud, even by yourself, can help you discover weak points, refine your language, and grow more comfortable with the flow of the conversation. Better yet, role play with a trusted friend or mentor. Have them challenge you. Push back. Test your responses. The more you practice, the less intimidating the real thing becomes. Repetition builds muscle memory. It makes composure your default. Final thoughts. Preparation is your secret weapon. It turns uncertainty into strategy. It gives you the ability to walk into any negotiation knowing what you want, what they want, and how to bridge the gap. You may not control how the other person behaves, but through preparation, you control how you respond, how you lead, and how you shape the conversation. Great negotiation starts long before you speak. It begins in the quiet work of reflection, research, and rehearsal. When you prepare like a professional, you don't just increase your chances of success. You walk into the room already knowing you deserve it. Now that you understand how to prepare, it's time to explore how to build rapport and trust once the conversation begins. In the next chapter, we'll unlock the human side of negotiation, the side that builds connection before you ever ask for anything. Chapter 3. Building rapport and trust. Negotiation is often misunderstood as a battle of logic, numbers, and tactics. But in reality, the most successful negotiations don't begin with facts. They begin with connection. People don't make decisions based solely on data. They make decisions based on how they feel about you, about the conversation, and about the relationship. Before anyone is willing to listen to your offer, they need to feel safe, respected, and understood. That's where rapport and trust come in. This chapter will show you how to build trust quickly and authentically. create rapport that fosters cooperation, and lay the human foundation that makes negotiations smoother and more effective. Because when people trust you, they stop resisting and start collaborating. Why rapport matters. Rapport is the sense of ease and mutual understanding between two people. It's the feeling that says, we're on the same page. When you build rapport, the conversation flows. Tension decreases. People become more open, more flexible, and more honest. On the other hand, if there's no rapport, if the interaction feels cold, confrontational, or transactional, resistance rises. Defenses go up. Negotiation becomes a struggle instead of a dialogue. That's why building rapport early in a negotiation is not optional. It's essential. The first few minutes matter most. Within the first few moments of any conversation, people form impressions about your tone, your body language, your energy, and your intent. These impressions either create connection or erode it. Here's how to build rapport from the start. 1. Be present, not distracted. When you show up fully, with your phone away and your attention focused, people feel it. Presence is rare, and it signals respect. Point 2. Smile genuinely. A warm, authentic smile can disarm tension. It tells the other person you're open, not adversarial. It sets the tone for cooperation. Point 3. Use their name. People love to hear their own name. It builds familiarity and shows that you see them as an individual, not just a position. Point 4. Match their energy. Subtly mirror their tone, pace, and posture. If they're calm and thoughtful, don't come in high-strung and aggressive. Matching energy makes people feel comfortable. Point 5. Start with small talk or shared interests. Don't dive straight into business. A short exchange about mutual interests, current events, or even a compliment can build connection and soften the ground. The power of active listening. One of the fastest ways to build trust is to listen deeply. Not just to the words, but to the meaning, the emotion, and the intent behind them. Active listening includes making eye contact, nodding, or affirming without interrupting, reflecting their thoughts back. What I'm hearing is asking clarifying questions to show interest. When someone feels heard, they feel valued. And when they feel valued, they're far more likely to engage honestly and openly. Many negotiators think they need to dominate the conversation. In truth, the more you listen, the more influence you gain. Why? Because you gather more insight, spot hidden needs, and create emotional safety. Build trust before making demands. Trust isn't built by making impressive offers. It's built by showing consistency, empathy, and respect before asking someone to move toward your point of view. Show them that you understand theirs. Here's how. 1. Validate their concerns. Even if you don't agree, acknowledge their point of view. Say things like, I see why that's important to you, or that makes sense given your situation. 2. Be transparent about your intentions. Hidden agendas destroy trust. Be honest about what you want, why you're here, and what your hopes are for the conversation. Point 3. Admit limitations when necessary. If you don't know something or can't deliver on a point, say so. Honesty builds credibility. Bluster and bluffing erode it. Point 4. Stay calm under pressure. When emotions run high, your calmness builds trust. People feel safer around someone who remains steady, especially during disagreement. The role of empathy. Empathy is not weakness. It's strength. It's the ability to understand what the other person is feeling and use that insight to guide the negotiation forward. Empathetic negotiators are not pushovers. They're powerful because they can navigate complex emotions, anticipate reactions, and offer solutions that meet real human needs. Use empathy to discover what the other side is really afraid of. Offer reassurance that eases hidden tension. Reframe your proposal to align with their values. Empathy shows that you're not just negotiating for yourself. You're trying to create something meaningful for both sides. And when people feel that you care about their outcome, they become more open to yours. Be consistent, not contradictory. Trust is fragile. It's built slowly and lost quickly. To build and maintain trust, you must be consistent. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Follow through on commitments. Stay aligned in your words, tone, and actions. If you say you're looking for a win-win but act only in self-interest, people will see through you. If you promise something and then change it without explanation, trust fades. Consistency builds credibility. And credibility gives you leverage, not through force, but through reliability. Avoid these rapport killers just as there are ways to build trust. There are also common habits that destroy it. Avoid the following at all costs. Interrupting repeatedly. It signals disrespect and a lack of patience. Dominating the conversation. If you speak twice as much as the other person, you're not building rapport. You're building resistance. Being overly aggressive, assertiveness is healthy. Aggression is not. Push too hard, and people push back or walk away. Using jargon or manipulation. Complex language or psychological tricks may seem clever, but they often create distance, not connection. Being inauthentic. People can feel when you're pretending. If your compliments are forced or your empathy is staged, it will backfire. Genuine beats clever. Every time. Final thoughts negotiation is not about how persuasive you are. It's about how connected you are. Trust and rapport aren't soft skills. They're essential skills. They determine whether the other person is even open to what you have to say. When people feel heard, seen, and respected, walls come down. Conversations flow. Agreements form naturally. You don't need to be the most articulate person in the room. You just need to be the most authentic one, the most present one, the most empathetic one. Because the foundation of every strong agreement is a strong relationship. As we move into the next chapter, we'll build on this human connection with powerful strategies and proven tactics. You'll learn the exact tools professional negotiators use to guide conversations, handle objections, and reach favorable outcomes. Let's continue. Chapter 4. The tactics that winnow. That you understand the mindset and the importance of trust, it's time to explore the techniques, the tangible tools that help you lead conversations, handle resistance, and guide negotiations to a successful close. These tactics are not tricks. They are proven methods used by expert negotiators across industries. When used ethically and thoughtfully, they don't manipulate, they influence. They bring clarity, structure, and direction to the conversation. In this chapter, you'll learn the most effective negotiation tactics, how and when to use them, and why they work. Whether you're negotiating a business deal, a salary, or a conflict in your personal life, these techniques will elevate your ability to get results. Let's begin with one of the most powerful tools in the negotiator's toolkit: anchoring. Anchoring. Set the first value. Anchoring refers to placing the first number or offer on the table, and it's a psychological game changer. Here's why. The first number sets the tone. Even if the final agreement is far from the original anchor, studies show that people subconsciously gravitate toward it when considering what's fair. If you go first, you control the range. Let's say you're selling a product. You anchor the price at $10,000. Even if your counterpart counters at $7,000 and you settle at $8,000, the discussion was framed around your initial anchor, not theirs. Anchors must be reasonable. They should be justifiable, not absurd. Aspirational. They should stretch toward your ideal outcome. Backed by logic. Prepare reasons, data, or comparisons to support the number. Anchoring works best when you're well prepared. But remember, if the other person anchors first, don't panic. You can re-anchor by calmly rejecting their number and presenting your own frame. Bracketing. Control the range. Bracketing is a tactic that complements anchoring. It involves placing your initial offer and expected counteroffer around your ideal target. For example, your ideal outcome: $80,000 salary. You open at $85,000. You expect them to counter at $75,000. You land at $80,000. You've created a bracket around your goal. This technique works because people psychologically seek middle ground. By bracketing, you're guiding them toward your preferred center. Bracketing only works if you've done your homework. Know your numbers, your floor, and your walkaway point. The power of silence. Silence is a vastly underused tactic. Most people rush to fill awkward pauses, especially in moments of tension. But in negotiation, silence creates space and pressure. After making a proposal or counteroffer, say nothing. Let the other person speak first. Let the silence sit. Why does it work? It creates discomfort. People often reveal more than they intended just to fill the silence. It shows composure. Your calmness signals confidence. It buys time for both you and them to think clearly. The person who can sit with silence usually holds the power. Tactical empathy. Tactical empathy is the deliberate use of understanding to guide a negotiation. It's not just about feeling for someone. It's about recognizing their emotions, needs, and fears, and using that insight to shape your approach. That here's how to apply it. Label emotions. Say things like, "It seems like this is important to you," or "I sense some hesitation." Naming emotions calms the other party and shows you're paying attention. Validate feelings. You don't have to agree with someone to acknowledge their perspective. Validation reduces defensiveness. Use softeners, phrases like "help," "me understand," or "what would make this work for you." Encourage openness without conflict. Empathy isn't weakness. It's a strategic strength. When people feel understood, they become more willing to listen to you. Mirroring and matching. Mirroring is a subtle but powerful way to create connection. It involves repeating the last few words your counterpart says or paraphrasing them. 2. Signal understanding and prompt further explanation. For example, them, "We're concerned about delivery time." You, "Delivery time?" This invites them to expand, often revealing what really matters. It's especially useful when someone is being vague or guarded. Matching, on the other hand, is about aligning your tone, energy, and posture with theirs. When done naturally, it builds subconscious trust. Both techniques help lower resistance and open communication. The no strategy. Most people fear hearing no. But expert negotiators understand that no is not the end, it's the beginning. No gives people a sense of control. It makes them feel safe. And when someone feels safe, they're more likely to explore other options. Use questions that invite a no response. Would it be unreasonable to? Is it a bad idea to consider? Is now a terrible time? This flips the dynamic. Instead of chasing agreement, you're guiding the conversation by making it comfortable to decline and then revisit. Ironically, hearing no often leads to yes faster than pressuring someone for a yes right away. The flinch. The flinch is a physical or verbal reaction to a proposal that signals surprise or disapproval. Example, your counterpart says, "We'll need a 20% discount." And you respond with a subtle flinch, raised eyebrows, a pause, a sharp inhale. This creates doubt or second-guessing. They may immediately soften their demand or justify it further, revealing useful information. Use the flinch sparingly and naturally. Overacting ruins the effect. Understated reactions are more believable and effective. The if-then offer conditional. Offers are structured like this. If you can do X, then I can do Y. This tactic is effective because it moves the conversation forward, shows flexibility, establishes clear trade-offs. For example, if you're willing to extend the deadline by a week, I can offer a 10% discount. It puts the focus on solutions, not positions. It makes your concessions contingent, not automatic. The Columbo technique, inspired by the fictional detective. This tactic involves acting less assertive or sharp than you actually are, only to surprise with clarity and precision. You might appear unsure or ask naive questions to lower the other party's guard, then land a strong point when they least expect it. Used ethically, this method can disarm ego-driven negotiators and gain valuable insights. But it requires humility, emotional control, and timing. Final thoughts. Tactics are not shortcuts to victory. They are tools of structure, influence, and clarity. When used with the right mindset and empathy, they create win-win solutions, strengthen relationships, and move negotiations forward. The key is knowing when and how to use each tactic, not as a script, but as part of a broader conversation strategy. You now have the tools. Combine them with presence, preparation, and people skills, and you'll become the kind of negotiator who gets results without burning bridges. In the next chapter, we'll go even deeper into the art of influence, how to persuade ethically, communicate with purpose, and guide conversations toward agreement. Let's move forward. Chapter 5. Persuasion and Influence. Persuasion and influence are the cornerstones of effective negotiation. While strategy and preparation build the foundation, it's your ability to shift perspectives and guide emotions that often determines the outcome. In this chapter, we'll explore the difference between manipulation and genuine influence, how storytelling shapes decisions, the art of asking the right questions, and the power of timing in delivering your message. Understanding influence. It's about them, not you. Many people approach persuasion with the wrong mindset. They focus on what they want rather than what the other party values. True influence begins with empathy. The more you understand the hopes, fears and motivations of the person across from you, the more effectively you can craft a message that resonates. Influence isn't about pushing. It's about pulling, creating a gravitational force that draws someone to your way of thinking. And to do that, you must first demonstrate that you understand them. Storytelling, the emotional shortcut to agreement. Facts tell. Stories sell. When you explain your position through facts and data alone, you engage the logical brain. But when you tell a story, one that taps into emotions, conflict, resolution, or identity, you engage the emotional brain. That's where decisions are made. For example, instead of saying, "Our product is 20% faster," tell a story about a customer who used your solution and saved 2 hours a day, giving them more time with their family. It becomes real. It becomes human. In negotiation, stories help you break through skepticism. They allow people to picture themselves in your proposal. Whether it's a personal anecdote, a client success story, or even a hypothetical narrative, use storytelling as a strategic tool. Asking the right questions. Persuasion isn't just about speaking well. It's about listening better. Great negotiators use questions to uncover hidden objections, draw out values, and guide the conversation in a productive direction. The best questions do three things: reveal motives. What would make this deal a win for you? Open perspectives. Have you considered how this might look 6 months from now? Create contrast. What's the cost of not making this change? When you ask rather than tell, you allow the other party to arrive at conclusions themselves. And people are more likely to support ideas they believe they've arrived at on their own. Questions also give you time. While the other person answers, you're processing, analyzing, and preparing your next move. This makes questions one of the most versatile tools in the negotiator's toolkit. The science of timing and delivery. What you say matters, but when you say it can matter even more, timing is an underrated element in negotiation. Imagine asking for a discount when the seller is under pressure to meet a deadline, or presenting a new idea when your boss is in a good mood. Timing aligns persuasion with opportunity, but beyond when, there's also how. Delivery affects perception. Speak too quickly, and you may come off as nervous. Speak too slowly, and you risk losing attention. The ideal tone is confident, calm, and composed. Avoid filler words. Maintain eye contact. Use pauses strategically. They show control and emphasize key points. There's also power in silence. Once you've made your offer or delivered a strong point, resist the urge to keep talking. Let it settle. Let the silence do its work. Often, your silence will prompt a response, a concession, or a reveal. Framing. Shaping how people see. Framing is the art of positioning your message so that it's viewed in the most favorable light. People don't just react to the content. They react to the context. Imagine you're selling a solution that costs $10,000. If you start by saying, "This will cost $10,000, you may get pushback. But if you begin by explaining how your solution saves $50,000 in lost time over a year and then state the price, it's now seen as an investment, not an expense. Framing allows you to guide how someone processes value. You can frame a negotiation as a partnership instead of a competition. You can frame a compromise as a mutual win rather than a personal loss. Reframing is equally powerful. If someone says, "This is too expensive," you might reframe it with, "That's exactly why this solution matters. It prevents far more costly issues in the future." Handling resistance without losing influence. Even the most persuasive negotiators face resistance. The key is to remain composed and stay curious. When someone pushes back, don't immediately push harder. Instead, explore their objection. Ask questions. Validate their concern. Then pivot with new information or a story that reframes the issue. For example, them, "We just don't have the budget." You, "That's fair." Many of our current clients felt the same way until they saw how much they were spending fixing the same problems this solution prevents. May I share a quick example? This approach maintains rapport, keeps the dialogue open, and gives you another chance to persuade. The long game of influence. Persuasion doesn't always yield instant results. Sometimes, your goal isn't to win today, but to plant a seed for tomorrow. Influential negotiators play the long game. They understand that relationships matter more than transactions. They focus on building trust over time so that when stakes are high, their influence holds weight. This means following up. It means keeping your word. It means leaving every interaction better than you found it. In many cases, your influence in future negotiations is shaped by how you handle today's conversation. Even if no agreement is reached, summary, influence. Built on integrity to master persuasion and influence. Focus on the other person's perspective. Use storytelling to activate emotions and build connection. Ask strategic questions to uncover deeper truths. Deliver your message with the right timing, tone, and framing. Handle resistance with curiosity, not confrontation. Think long-term. Relationships are your greatest asset. Remember, the most powerful persuasion doesn't feel like persuasion at all. It feels like clarity. It feels like trust. And when people trust you, they listen to you. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to apply these skills in high-pressure negotiations, where emotions run high and decisions matter most. Let's continue. Chapter 6. Negotiating under pressure. In the high-stakes world of negotiation, pressure is inevitable. Whether you're racing against a deadline, confronting an aggressive counterpart, or dealing with the emotional intensity of high-value outcomes, the ability to stay composed and strategic is what separates amateur negotiators from professionals. In this chapter, we explore how to negotiate effectively under pressure without losing your clarity, composure, or confidence. The nature of pressure in negotiation. Pressure in negotiation can stem from various sources: time constraints, financial or strategic stakes, emotional triggers, power imbalances, external expectations, bosses, clients, teams. What's important is not avoiding pressure, but managing how you respond to it. Pressure reveals the real negotiator. Those who can maintain focus and emotional control are the ones who consistently come out ahead. Stay grounded. Control your physiology. Your body reacts to pressure before your mind does. The stress response: racing heart, shallow breathing, adrenaline surge, can cloud judgment. Master negotiators use techniques to regulate their physiological state. Deep, steady breathing calms the nervous system. Positive visualization before entering the room builds a confident mindset. Grounding techniques, such as touching the table or placing both feet flat on the ground, can reconnect you with the present moment. Staying physically composed helps your mind operate more clearly and assertively. The power of emotional regulation. Pressure often leads to emotional flooding, feelings of fear, frustration, anger, or even panic. These emotions, if left unchecked, will hijack your ability to think rationally. Maintain emotional control. Label your emotions mentally. I feel anxious, or I sense frustration. Pause before reacting. Silence can be a strategic move, not a sign of weakness. Reframe the situation. Instead of seeing it as a threat, see it as a challenge to demonstrate your capability. Remember, emotional control is not about being cold or robotic. It's about being the calmest person in the room, the one with the clearest mind and the strongest presence. Use silence as a weapon. Silence is one of the most powerful tools during high-pressure moments. It creates psychological space. It compels the other party to fill the void, often revealing their true position or making concessions they didn't plan to. In moments of tension, let the silence sit. Resist the urge to rescue the conversation. Use nonverbal cues like eye contact and calm posture to maintain the atmosphere of control. Silence gives you power. It disrupts the other party's rhythm and gives you time to think. Focus on interests, not positions. Under pressure, it's easy to become positional. We must get this price, or we won't move on that term. But rigid positions can break down trust and stall progress. Instead, always return to interests, the underlying needs or concerns driving the negotiation. Ask yourself, what do they really need? What do I really need? Where is the overlap? By focusing on interests, you open the door to creative solutions and reduce confrontation. It shifts the mindset from me versus you to let's solve this together. Slow down the tempo. In fast-paced, high-pressure talks, slowing down the tempo can be your greatest asset. When the other side is rushing, pushing, or dominating, pause the action. You might say, let me think about that for a moment. Let's step back and look at the bigger picture. That's an important point. I'd like to explore it fully. Slowing down disrupts emotional buildup and allows logic and strategy to take the wheel. Don't be afraid to walk away. One of the most empowering actions under pressure is the willingness to walk away. This doesn't mean abandoning negotiations recklessly. but rather holding the line when terms no longer serve your goals. Ask yourself, have I reached my walkaway point? Am I making too many compromises just to avoid discomfort? Confidence under pressure includes knowing your value and being willing to step back when the deal no longer aligns with your interests. Practice under simulated pressure. Like any skill, performing under pressure improves with practice. Simulate high-stakes environments. Role-play challenging negotiation scenarios. Impose artificial deadlines in practice. Work with a coach or team member to create pressure drills. The more you train in discomfort, the more familiar pressure becomes, and the less power it holds over you. Develop a crisis-resilient mindset. Some of the world's best negotiators are trained not just in communication, but in crisis management, military tactics, and emergency response. Why? Because they understand that decision-making under stress is a separate skill. To build your resilience. Study historical negotiation breakdowns and breakthroughs. Learn from crisis leaders and hostage negotiators. Cultivate mental toughness by embracing discomfort and ambiguity. The resilient negotiator is unshakable. They may not always have the perfect answer, but they never lose their presence of mind. Final thought. Pressure is a privilege. Reframe how you see pressure, not as a problem, but as a privilege. It means you're in the arena, doing meaningful work with real stakes. Negotiating under pressure is not just about surviving the moment. It's about shaping outcomes, commanding respect, and strengthening your professional reputation. When you master pressure, you master the negotiation. Chapter 7. Everyday negotiation skills. Negotiation is not reserved for boardrooms, business deals, or high-stakes contracts. In truth, we are constantly negotiating in our everyday lives, whether we're asking for a better deal at a store, resolving a conflict with a friend, managing family responsibilities, or navigating workplace dynamics. This chapter brings negotiation back to where it matters most, your day-to-day life. Mastering everyday negotiation can dramatically improve your relationships, confidence, and decision-making. Let's explore how. The power of micro-negotiations. Every interaction that involves a choice, a preference, or a request is a form of negotiation. These are called micro-negotiations. You might not realize it, but you're engaging in them when you ask your partner where to eat, when you request time off work, or when you agree on a schedule with a coworker. Why they matter? Practicing negotiation. In these small moments conditions your mind. It sharpens your instincts, enhances your communication, and builds your confidence for larger, more complex scenarios. By handling micro-negotiations well, you become more assertive, collaborative, and intentional in all your conversations. Mastering tone and timing. The way you say something can be more important than what you say. In daily negotiation, your tone, body language, and timing make a powerful difference. Tone. A calm, respectful tone invites cooperation. A sharp or defensive tone may trigger resistance. Think of negotiation as a dance, not a debate. Timing. Choose the right moment to bring up your point. Don't request a favor from someone who's clearly stressed. Don't argue over dinner when someone's tired. Strategic timing increases your chances of being heard and understood. Tip. Pause before responding. Silence is a powerful tool. It gives you time to think and prevents reactive communication. Asking assertively without being aggressive. Many people fear negotiation because they associate assertiveness with confrontation. But assertiveness is simply the ability to express your needs clearly and respectfully, without diminishing others. Assertive phrases in everyday life. I understand your point, but here's how I see it. Can we find a solution that works for both of us? That doesn't work for me. Let's explore other options. You're not demanding, you're offering dialogue. You're not dominating, you're leading with clarity and purpose. This is the foundation of effective negotiation. The art of saying no, gracefully saying no, is one of the most critical negotiation skills. In life, you're constantly asked to give your time, energy, and resources. Saying yes to everything dilutes your value and stretches your capacity. When you say no confidently, you set clear boundaries, gain respect, preserve energy for what truly matters. How to say no effectively. Be direct but polite. I appreciate you asking, but I can't commit to that right now. Offer an alternative. I won't be able to help with this, but perhaps another person/resource can. Don't over-explain. A simple, firm no is often more powerful than a lengthy justification. Negotiating at work in your professional life. Negotiation is key to promotions, task management, and team collaboration. Common workplace negotiations, salary and benefits deadlines, and workloads, project direction, remote work, or flexible hours. Tips for workplace negotiation. Know your value. Be prepared with data or accomplishments to support your request. Be solution-oriented. Don't just present a problem. Suggest a win-win outcome. Maintain professionalism. Even during disagreements, stay composed. Respect goes a long way. Home and family negotiation. Relationships at home require delicate negotiation. You may negotiate how chores are divided, how money is spent, or how time is allocated. Rules for successful family negotiation. Use I statements, not you accusations. I feel overwhelmed when I handle everything alone versus you never help around the house. Be open to compromise. Winning at home is about harmony, not control. Listen first, respond second. Give each other space to be heard without interruption. When negotiation is done well at home, it strengthens trust and deepens bonds. It creates a foundation of shared responsibility and mutual respect. Social situations and friendships. From planning a group trip to resolving a misunderstanding, friendships often require subtle negotiation. Handling these conversations with emotional intelligence is vital. How to negotiate socially. Be empathetic. Understand their needs, not just your own. Be flexible. Social negotiations are more about harmony than logic. Set gentle boundaries. I'd love to join, but I need some downtime this weekend. Social negotiation is not about pushing people. It's about preserving connection while honoring your own preferences. Using curiosity as a tool. Curiosity is one of the most underused but powerful tools in negotiation. Asking genuine questions disarms tension and invites openness. Ask questions like, what would make this work better for you? What's your biggest concern here? How do you see this playing out? This opens dialogue, creates clarity, and helps both sides arrive at better solutions. Practicing active listening. Listening is the most critical negotiation skill. Too often, people prepare to respond instead of truly listening. Active listening means giving your full attention, mirroring back key points, so you're saying. Pausing before jumping in. When people feel heard, they're more willing to cooperate. Listening validates their perspective, builds rapport, and moves the negotiation forward smoothly. The confidence to speak up. Confidence is not arrogance. It is quiet self-assurance. In everyday negotiations, confident people are more likely to get their needs met because they speak clearly, use direct language, stay grounded in their values. To build negotiation confidence. Practice in low stakes situations. Celebrate small wins. Reflect on what went well after each interaction. Confidence grows with experience. Start small, stay consistent, and you'll evolve into a master negotiator. Final thoughts. Everyday negotiation is about human connection. It's about expressing your needs while respecting the needs of others. It's about navigating the give and take of life with grace, clarity, and purpose. You don't need a negotiation table to practice these skills. The real training ground is your daily life. Conversations with your partner, your team, your friends, your community, and as you grow more mindful and intentional in those moments, negotiation becomes more than just a skill. It becomes a way of life. Chapter 8. Ethics and long-term success. Negotiation is a powerful skill. It can open doors, build bridges, and create tremendous value. But with great power comes great responsibility. The foundation of lasting success in negotiation isn't just about winning deals or getting what you want. It's about conducting yourself with integrity and ethical clarity. This chapter explores why ethics matter in negotiation, how they influence your reputation and relationships, and how a principled approach leads not only to immediate wins, but also to long-term success and respect. Why ethics matter in negotiation. Negotiation is inherently a human interaction. It's not a game of tricks or deception. It's a process built on trust and mutual benefit. When you compromise ethics for short-term gain, you may win the battle but lose the war. Here's why ethics are critical. Reputation is everything. In business and life, word travels fast. One unethical act can damage your credibility and close doors permanently. Trust fuels collaboration. People want to negotiate with those they believe are honest and fair. Ethics build that trust. Ethics create stability. Deals built on deception tend to unravel quickly. Ethical agreements stand the test of time. Internal peace and confidence. Acting with integrity means you don't have to second-guess your actions or feel guilt later. Negotiation without ethics is like a house built on sand. It might stand briefly, but it won't endure. Common ethical pitfalls to avoid. Even experienced negotiators can fall into ethical traps. Here are some common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Misleading information. Withholding crucial facts or providing false data may seem tempting, but risks complete breakdown of trust. Overpromising and underdelivering. Making commitments you cannot or do not intend to keep undermines your reputation. Exploiting vulnerabilities. Taking advantage of someone's lack of knowledge or desperation crosses ethical lines. Pressure tactics and manipulation. High-pressure sales or psychological tricks may yield results, but at the cost of respect and goodwill. Breaking confidentiality. Sharing sensitive information without permission can destroy relationships and have legal consequences. Ethical negotiation means playing fairly, being transparent, and respecting the other party's dignity. The role of transparency is not about revealing every detail up front, but about being honest about what matters most. It's about clarity in intentions, constraints, and expectations. Being transparent builds trust, quickly reduces misunderstandings, encourages open dialogue, sets the stage for problem solving. When you approach negotiation with honesty about your limits and goals, you create a space where creative solutions can flourish. People appreciate and reciprocate sincerity. Win-win negotiation. A principle, not a myth. You've likely heard the phrase win-win used in negotiation circles. While sometimes dismissed as idealistic, a true win-win is both possible and sustainable. When ethics guide the process, win-win means both parties feel their interests were respected. Agreements are based on fairness, not exploitation. Solutions are durable and mutually beneficial. Ethical negotiators seek win-win not because it's easy, but because it creates long-term relationships and repeated opportunities. Long-term success depends on relationships. Every negotiation is not just a single event. It's part of an ongoing relationship. The deals you make today influence the deals you'll make tomorrow. Consider repeat business referrals and recommendations, your professional network and reputation. Partnerships and alliances. Ethical negotiation nurtures these connections. You build goodwill that multiplies value far beyond the immediate transaction. Handling ethical dilemmas. Sometimes you may face situations where what you want conflicts with what is right. These ethical dilemmas test your character. To navigate them, pause and reflect. Don't rush decisions under pressure. Consult your values. What aligns with your core principles? Seek advice. Talk to mentors or trusted colleagues. Consider consequences. Think about long-term impact on relationships and reputation. Choosing ethics may be harder in the short term, but it always pays off in the long run. Cultivating an ethical mindset. Ethical negotiation isn't just about avoiding wrongdoing. It's about proactively doing right. Ways to cultivate this mindset include: commit to integrity. Make it a personal standard, not just a rule. Practice empathy. Understand and respect the other party's position. Be accountable. Own your mistakes and learn from them. Lead by example. Inspire ethical behavior in others through your actions. This mindset transforms negotiation from a transaction into a collaborative art. Ethics in cross-cultural negotiations. In global negotiations, ethical standards may vary, but respect remains universal. Be mindful of cultural differences in communication, decision-making, and values. Research cultural norms before negotiations. Avoid assumptions or stereotypes. Embrace openness and curiosity. Adapt your approach while maintaining your ethical core. Culturally aware, ethical negotiators build bridges across borders. Final thoughts. The legacy you build. Your negotiation ethics shape your professional legacy. Do you want to be remembered as someone who cuts corners or as a trusted partner who creates value and uplift? When you prioritize ethics, you create a foundation for not just successful deals, but for a career and a life that commands respect and admiration. Ethical negotiation isn't the easy path, but it's the right path. And ultimately, it's the path to true, lasting success. In the next chapter, we will explore how to reflect on your negotiation experiences, learn from every conversation, and continuously grow into a master negotiator. The journey of excellence is ongoing, and every negotiation is an opportunity. Chapter 9. Learning and growing as a negotiator. Negotiation is not a static skill. It is a dynamic craft that evolves with experience, reflection, and continuous learning. No matter how skilled you are today, there is always room to grow, refine your approach, and deepen your understanding. In this chapter, we explore how to cultivate a mindset of growth, learn from every interaction, and build the habits that will transform you into a master negotiator over time. The growth mindset. Embrace every experience, the foundation of ongoing. Improvement is a growth mindset, a belief that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. See setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities to learn. Approach every negotiation, whether successful or difficult, as a valuable experience. Be curious about your own behavior and results, asking yourself what worked and what could be improved. This mindset creates resilience and a hunger for mastery that drives continuous progress. Reflecting on your negotiations. After every negotiation, take time to reflect thoughtfully. Ask yourself, what was my goal going in? Did I achieve it? Which tactics and strategies worked well? Which didn't? How did I manage emotions and pressure? What feedback, explicit or implicit, did I receive? How did I build rapport and trust? What could I do differently next time? Journaling your reflections can be especially powerful. Writing consolidates learning and reveals patterns over time. Seek feedback and mentorship. No one becomes a master in isolation. Seek out trusted colleagues, mentors, or coaches who can provide honest feedback. Invite critiques of your style, communication, and approach. Observe experienced negotiators and learn from their techniques. Practice role plays and simulations with feedback sessions. Mentorship accelerates growth by offering new perspectives and sharpening your skills. Expand your knowledge-based. Negotiation is an interdisciplinary skill influenced by psychology, communication, business, and even culture. Commit to ongoing education. Read books, articles, and case studies on negotiation. Attend workshops and seminars. Study negotiation in diverse contexts: business, diplomacy, everyday life. Stay curious about new research in human behavior and decision-making. The more you understand about people and influence, the more effective you become. Practice deliberately. Practice is not enough without intention. Deliberate practice means focusing on specific skills, challenging yourself, and correcting mistakes. Set clear goals for each practice session. Focus on one technique at a time. Simulate real-world scenarios. Review and adjust based on outcomes. Deliberate practice transforms skills from theory into instinct. Cultivate emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage emotions, is essential for negotiation mastery. Develop self-awareness. Know your triggers and biases. Improve self-regulation. Stay calm and composed under stress. Build empathy. Understand others' feelings and perspectives. Enhance social skills. Communicate clearly and build connections. Emotional intelligence turns negotiation from a contest into a conversation. Learn from failures and setbacks. No negotiator wins every time. Failure is part of the journey. Analyze what led to unsuccessful outcomes without self-judgment. Identify lessons and actionable changes. Use failure as fuel for improvement, not fear. Remember that resilience is a negotiator's secret weapon. Each setback is a stepping stone toward greater competence and confidence. Track your progress. Set measurable milestones to track your growth. Record the number of negotiations you participate in. Note improvements in specific skills: listening, framing, persuasion. Celebrate small wins and incremental progress. Tracking progress keeps motivation high and reveals how far you've come. Stay humble and open-minded. Negotiation is a lifelong learning journey. Stay humble about what you don't know. Be open to new ideas and approaches. Question assumptions regularly. Avoid complacency or overconfidence. Humility opens the door to continual learning and deeper mastery. Build your personal negotiation style as you grow. Develop your unique style that leverages your strengths and values. Reflect on what feels authentic and effective for you. Balance assertiveness with empathy. Adapt style to different contexts and personalities. Let your values guide your approach. Your personal style becomes your signature, setting you apart as a confident and trusted negotiator. Final thoughts. The journey never ends. Mastery in negotiation is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. Every conversation, challenge, and relationship is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. Commit to this journey with patience and passion. The effort you invest will pay dividends in every aspect of your life, professionally and personally. Remember, the best negotiators are not those who never fail, but those who never stop learning. Conclusion. Becoming a master negotiator. As we reach the end of this journey through the art of negotiation, it's time to reflect on what it truly means to become a master negotiator. Negotiation is far more than a set of tactics or tricks. It is a way of thinking, a way of communicating, and a way of relating to others that empowers you to create value, solve problems, and build meaningful connections. Throughout this book, you have explored the mindset, preparation, tactics, persuasion, handling pressure, everyday skills, ethics, and growth essential to negotiation mastery. Now, it's time to bring it all together. The core of mastery. Mindset and integrity. At the heart of every great negotiator lies a mindset of confidence, curiosity, and calm. Master negotiators see negotiation not as a battle to be won, but as a collaboration to be navigated. They approach each conversation with empathy and respect, seeking outcomes that honor both parties' needs. Equally important is integrity. Success built on trust and honesty lasts far beyond any single deal. Your reputation becomes your currency, opening doors and creating opportunities that no tactic alone can achieve. Practice with purpose. Mastery is built through deliberate, consistent practice. Every negotiation, big or small, is a chance to refine your skills, learn something new, and deepen your understanding of human behavior. Treat each interaction as both a challenge and an opportunity. Prepare thoroughly, listen deeply, communicate clearly, and stay adaptable. Over time, these habits will become second nature. Adapt and evolve. The landscape of negotiation is always changing. New cultures, technologies, and challenges emerge. To remain a master, you must be a lifelong learner, open to evolving your approach and expanding your knowledge. Seek feedback, embrace new ideas, and never assume you have nothing left to learn. Flexibility and humility will keep you ahead. The power of influence beyond the table. Negotiation skills extend far beyond contracts and deals. They shape how you communicate with family, friends, colleagues, and communities. They enhance your leadership, problem-solving, and emotional intelligence. That be why mastering negotiation, you enhance your ability to navigate life's complexities with grace and effectiveness. You become someone who inspires cooperation, resolves conflict, and builds bridges. Your journey starts now. Becoming a master negotiator is a journey, not a destination. It requires commitment, self-awareness, and courage. But the rewards are profound. You will gain confidence in your voice. You will deepen your relationships. You will unlock opportunities previously out of reach. And you will stand resilient in the face of challenge. Thank you for allowing the art of negotiation to accompany you on this path. Remember, every negotiation is a conversation, and every conversation is a chance to grow. Step forward with intention, integrity, and heart. Your mastery awaits.